Today we're going to make healthy homemade ice cream. I don't know if your children scream for ice cream, but my husband does. So I have to figure out how to satisfy his desires with ice cream. I don't really want him buying the ice creams from the store. They have ingredients in it that are stabilizers or gums to keep it from melting, and artificial ingredients, natural artificial ingredients. A lot of things go into the ice cream to make sure it stays that perfect creamy texture even during transport. So if you were to go in and research a lot of the ingredients in ice cream and store-bought ice cream, you may be amazed. Even some of the natural brands have to have stabilizers to keep it from melting during transport. Well, if we want to maintain a healthy balance in our life and a healthy life in general, then we need to control the ingredients in our food. And that includes ice cream. Now, do we need ice cream all the time? No, we don't. And when my husband and I first started eating healthy, just changing our foods to God's foods, the Bible diet, I lost 60 pounds. And I've been able to keep it off by focusing on the foods that God created. Well, but sometimes you want to give your family a treat, and that might include ice cream. Today, I welcome you to my kitchen. I'm so glad you stopped by, and I just want to show you how I make homemade ice cream. Now, remember those days we had to hand crank it, and fill it up with the ice and the salt and all of that? That was good, tasted delicious. In fact, my mom's yearly traditional ice cream was always banana. That was her favorite. I would love for you to comment down below and tell me what is your favorite flavor for homemade ice cream. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any other episodes of these cooking classes with Annette. I am Annette Reeder, the Biblical Nutritionist, and I'm glad you joined me. So today we're going to make a dark cherry cheesecake ice cream. Doesn't it just sound amazing? If you saw this ice cream in the grocery store, it would have so many ingredients in it that we don't want in our ice cream. So you're going to see how simple the ingredients are to making healthy ice cream. So I'm going to start with some cream cheese, 3 ounces. I'm using my Bosch mixer because if you've watched my cooking videos very often, you know I'm kind of a fan of my Bosch mixer. And I'm going to go ahead and start whipping this up. Let me put a lid on this because I have a tendency to decorate everyone and everything around me when I blend. So what I'm doing is it's already was softened because I had it out in the room air for about 30 minutes, and that's usually enough to soften cream cheese. You can use a low-fat cheese, you can use a non-fat cheese, or just the full-fat cheese. Typically in ice cream, things work better with full fat, which is why we don't need to eat it very often, but it's also the food in its natural form. Low fat, no fat is an altered food. Okay, so we need to just understand that. Now I'm going to go ahead and add it calls for sugar because the recipe is not a healthy recipe, so I'm using a coconut sugar this time. Now, because it's a natural sugar, it's not white, so I don't ever get that pretty white ice cream. Now what I have here is more of a cookie dough texture, you know what I mean, if you make cookies very often. And so it's just a nice creamy, and it's kind of brown because my sugar was brown. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the milk to start creating that more creamy texture. This is whole milk. And sometimes it's just really good when you're mixing things to take your spatula and just wipe down the sides, both the outside and the inside ring. Now, there is an attachment that comes with the Bosch mixer that will automatically do this for you. And I'll put a link to that down below because you might not have been aware of that attachment if you own a Bosch already. This works just the same in the Nutrimil Artiste blender mixer. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my whipping cream. And so all of these amounts, whatever sweetener of choice, if you're going to use sucanat, if you're going to use a coconut sugar or an organic sugar, so the whipping topping and the sweetener of choice and the milk are all 1 cup each. So very simple to remember. All right, let me put my lid back on so I don't end up wearing this. Okay, so I kind of just, I'll show you what it looks like in just a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to not be able to see what I'm doing in this bowl. Now, here's one of the secret sauce. This is pureed dark cherries. So what I did was I went and bought some dark cherries in the freezer section in the grocery store because it's not cherry season right now. So I went to the freezer section and I defrosted the cherries and I drained the juice out because I didn't want to make too much juice in my ice cream. And then I threw them in the blender to puree them. Now I didn't want to make them, they're still just a little bit chunky because don't you love bits of fruit in your ice cream? Okay, so let me turn that on. Mix that up. I'm just going to let that blend for just a minute. I want to make sure that whipped topping is, getting its whipping done, sort of. Okay, so this is all mixed together and it looks scrumptious, and now you will get to see it. I'm now going to be using this ice cream maker. I'll give you a little picture of this. Here's what it looks like in the box. This is the ice cream maker that is made by Nutri-Mill, and it works perfectly. I don't have to hand crank anymore. I don't have to mind the kettle, as we used to call it. And now I'm going to pour, so you can see we have a beautiful, rich, red, cherry colored mixture. Nice and creamy. So I'm going to pour it into this ice cream maker. Make sure I get everything out of the bowl. I don't want to lose any of those ingredients. Looks like I had a little bit of cream cheese there at the bottom, but that'll mix up when the ice cream is churning. All right, let's get all of this in here. We don't want to miss a single bite. Now don't forget, I want to read your comments. What are your favorite homemade ice cream flavors? Let's see which one is the most popular. I actually, in our family, before we got healthier, it used to be the Oreo ice cream. Now I just buy more of an organic Oreo and use that instead. So I just got a separate bowl. If you didn't have two bowls like I do, then you would just take that bowl and wash it out really well. Then we're going to put it back on our Bosch mixer. I could also be using the Nutri-Mill Artiste. Lock that in. I'm then going to put my ice cream maker on top of that center post until it locks in. There we go. It's locked in place. And then I'm looking for my lid. Where did I put my lid? Oh, it's right in front of me. Okay. Yes. Now, this is a really cool lid because it gives you a window right there that you can look through to see how the texture of the ice cream is doing. This is your mixing blade that's going to mix up the ice cream. There we go. That's all we have to do. Well, not really. Now we go back to that old-fashioned plan of adding ice. So we're going to add a lot of ice. We're just going to put it in all around the ice cream maker. There we go. Let me just do this a little bit easier. Actually, yeah. I'm going to put this all around. And really what you're doing is you're layering it. So you're putting in plenty of ice. Okay, when I get a good first layer in there, then I'm going to add some rock salt. So I have some rock salt right here. You can buy ice cream salt in the store. A lot of your everyday general merchandise stores usually carry it. Sometimes they only carry it during summer because they think people are only making ice cream during the summer. Now, I will say the most important thing about using this mixer to make ice cream and using salt is salt, as you know, is very corrosive. So when we're done making the ice cream, it's very, very, very important that we clean this really well and dry it really well so it doesn't rust. All right, so then I'm going to add another layer of ice to that, I'll add another layer of salt. The more salt you add, the more coldness your ice cream will have, which means the faster it will make ice cream. Okay, that's another layer. So now I'm going to add another layer of salt. And if you're not used to making ice cream, if you didn't grow up making ice cream or it wasn't one of your family traditions, you may not realize, but you want this salt and ice to be all the way up to the top because it's only going to chill however high it is. So if I only fill it up halfway, I'm only going to chill half my ice cream and it's not going to work. So I want to fill it all the way up to the top, and I'm going to have to go get some more ice out of the freezer to make this batch. Now, as you're making it, as it's spinning around, you're going to notice that the level of the salt and the ice is going to drop because it starts to melt and fill in all of those categories. So you're going to want to keep ice and salt next to the mixer while it's mixing to keep adding in. Now, here's a quiz. What did I say is the most important thing to do after we are done making our ice cream? Exactly. We have to wash every piece of this really well, dry it really well so there's no salt residual anywhere because it will rust our machine, and we don't want to do that. So once I have it filled all the way to the top, I'm just going to turn this all the way over to number 2. And it's going to mix for 20 to 30 minutes. Now I'm going to turn this off so you can hear me. So it's going to spin for 20 to 30 minutes. Remember, I have a window right here so I can look inside to see how it's doing. Actually, I've even learned that you can dip a spoon in here to see how it's doing. And you might not be able to tell by what's on the spoon until you taste it. So you can actually pick that up and taste it yourself. I know all of the tricks for sampling food. In case you need any hints, just let me know. So I would just keep blending this until it is a very thick consistency. It's not going to be hard like the grocery store because it just doesn't get that hard, but it's going to be a very thicker than yogurt consistency. So you can take it out and you can enjoy it just like that, which is so delicious. Or you could actually freeze it in your freezer in a container and let it get even harder. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish this recipe up, but I don't want to make you wait the 20 to 30 minutes. So here is the dish that I prepared ahead of time to show you my black cherry, and I have a few chocolate chips in here because that always wins my husband's delight to have some chocolate in everything. I think he'd even eat chocolate chicken if I would feed it to him. So anyway, so here's the dark cherry ice cream. It tastes amazing. You could probably try altering out half and half of the sugar, whatever natural sugar you're using, with a little bit of monk fruit or stevia. But sometimes you need a little bit of the structure of the sugar to help make the blend, to help it do its chemistry action. So definitely you could go half and half and cut calories in half. But this is just one of those treats for your family. Just serve a small healthy dish. Enjoy it. Enjoy your fellowship with your family. That's more important than the food anyway. And I just really want you to leave your comments down below. Once again, what's your favorite ice cream? Let's see how many different flavors show up, or if we all got the same favorite. And have you made homemade ice cream before? Once again, this is the homemade ice cream maker that goes on the Bosch mixer. It comes with some recipe ideas, so it just makes it a lot of fun. You may have your own homemade ice cream maker. I'd love to hear your notes about that. Read your comments. I'm Annette Reeder, the Biblical Nutritionist. I'm on mission to keep you on mission. And what that means is, hey, I want you to be confident in your cooking, so therefore you're confident in your health and your future and the future of your family. And I want you to recognize how much God loves you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for learning together how to make healthy homemade ice cream.